Are we aiming for like 20 minutes?
I didn't have a structure in mind. I just thought, let's see how we flow.
Okay. Yeah, I think about like 20 minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give a little intro. I want you just to give a brief hello in the beginning. Do you want to intro yourself?
No.
That's fine. I don't think that flows. Let's see here. I want to get open this mic. Okay.
Can you do the intro later?
No.
Okay.
And then you're welcome to ask me questions.
Okay.
If you want to.
Yeah, you want me to serve as like giving reflections and questions, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And just adding your input whenever you want to, but I mostly want it to be me sharing it first, like what I'm going through.
Okay.
And then you could add your perspective or ask me questions.
Okay.
How's that sound?
That sounds good. If I need to yawn, I might just mute it.
Yeah, that works fine.
Okay.
Okay. Let's begin.
Begin.
Okay. What if your sacred partnership could be a source of pleasure and stability amidst the chaos of these times? I'm your host, Forrest Williams, certified relationship coach and disciple of love. And I help you learn the art of trust by waking up from unconscious patterns so you can enjoy the pleasure of relating. Well, I'm not feeling great today. And normally you would think that I would like not podcast on a day I'm not feeling great. But that was actually the impetus for me wanting to share about something challenging I'm experiencing. Honestly, just because it's fucking relatable. And a big part of conscious relating is doing the shadow work to deepen in relationships. And this has definitely been fucking testing me. And I feel like I'm growing through it. It's been challenging, but I want to share about it. I did take off work yesterday, but I'm experiencing chronic inflammation. So I can't just, I guess I could take off a few weeks, but I do need to pay my rent. So I'm not.
Balance.
Yeah, just managing it. And the nice thing about the line of work I'm in is I can do it while seated. I'm not heavy lifting, so like I can get away with it. Today I had a hot pad on my tummy while I was working, and that was so nice. So I want to share with you, beloved listener, what I've been experiencing, how it's impacting the way I've been showing up in relationship. And I have my sweet partner in love and life here with me, Fēnix Grace. Can you want to say hello?
Hello.
She's going to chime in and offer her perspective, maybe ask me a question or two. We'll see. But first, I'm going to share my story, kind of where I'm at, what's going on with me. So actually, a few of my clients know about this, but most people probably don't. So when I was a kid, I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease. I had somebody recently tell me, someone who does blood analysis. They look at your blood and they can... It's crazy. I'm not going into the details of it, but it was this crazy, trippy thing.
That was a really wild experience.
She put a drop of my blood under a microscope and then told me different layers of it and what it meant. And she told me I was essentially born with a bad intestine or a weak intestine. And for as long as I've known life, I've just had digestive issues. Before I can even remember, I have... one of my extended family members told me, oh yeah, you always had tummy aches when you were 5. I just don't remember. So I've had this my whole life. It really started getting horrible when I was 12, just chronic diarrhea, chronic tummy pain. It was horrible. And I grew up in a house where there was domestic abuse and a lot of violence. And I think that was a huge part of, my body. It just didn't feel safe in that home. So I was always on edge. And when I was 14, I was diagnosed, and then, they put me in the Western medical system, put me on these medications. When I finally got the autonomy to take my health journey into my own hands, I realized how the Western medical system isn't really that great for long-term healing. It's not profitable for them. So I was able to get down this deep health journey when I was 21. And I found a functional medicine practitioner who helped me wean off the medication I had been on for years. And since I started working with her, it was a long, strenuous process. I'm not going to go into the details of what I did, but it was a lot of holistic healing. And the long story short is I was pretty symptom-free for about a decade. And so in my mind, I thought, oh, Crohn's disease, I don't have that anymore. That's healed. I'm not going to identify with something that's telling me I'm sick. So I'm like, yeah, I used to have digestive issues, but not anymore, bitch. But I got deeply humbled. After 2025, it was like one of the craziest years of my life. And that's a different podcast episode for why that happened. But, you know, my partner and I went through a lot of housing instability and just a lot of chronic stress. And it was more than what my body could keep up with for as many tools as I had. It was just too much input, not enough output. So now that we are in a stable home, we're settling, we're nesting. Now my body's feeling safe enough to express all of that stress, and it is pouring out. It's a lot. And so long story short, I'm having a flare up, which just means my digestion is going through a hard time, having a lot of intestinal pain, a lot of like fatigue and irritable as hell. Bless your soul, Fēnix, for putting up with me and my irritability. It's a lot. I wish we were videotaping it because you have such a cute smile on your face right now. You look at me with such loving eyes like, yeah, I love you. Do you want to say anything?
To what? The irritability?
Oh, just what does it mean the way you're looking at me?
I think that we can feel when we're going through struggles that like our struggle is such a burden on our partner.
Yeah.
But I think it's very often not the case that the partner feels like so burdened by it. Like maybe sometimes for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is what long-term relating is about like being there through the beautiful times and the challenging times. And so it's like, I'm just sort of like holding that reminder. It's like, it's not that big of a deal, you know? Like,
I'm laughing because I'm like, easy for you to say, I got triggered.
Right. Right. But like I'm saying, like, it's not, yeah, like it's nice to acknowledge, of course, like the impact of where one is at, like one state and the impact that that has on the other person. But
yeah,
I don't know. Like, I don't believe in kind of like holding that as a weight in the relationship.
Yeah.
You know?
And I'm so grateful that you and I are partnering up. You're an amazing partner.
You too, babe.
So that feeds directly into all the shadows I've been confronting. And you might get a little bored, Fēnix. You've already heard all this from me. You already know. But for the listeners, I want them to know.
Tell the listeners.
You're so groovy. What I want to share with the listeners is that when I was a kid, I felt so deeply unlovable because of my illness. It was chronic. It was all the time. I had to say no to a lot of things that a young person would want to say yes to. No to softball games I had to cancel. No to socializing, to sleepovers. It was kind of traumatizing in a social way for me, but also incredibly painful. Like there was days I couldn't move out of bed. I was in so much pain. Couldn't eat anything, couldn't keep anything down. Actually, this last, I would say 3 weeks, I've just mostly been eating like broth and rice. There's some potatoes in there, some really well-cooked vegetables, but it's been a time. I've been really challenged, and I felt so unlovable for being chronically ill as a kid. I thought, well, who would ever marry me? I'm going to die alone. And that's crazy because I was like 14 thinking this. It was really depressing. I didn't see a way out because I just, the Western medical system told me I was going to die with this. I would have to eventually cut a piece of my intestine out and have surgery. They told me I'd have to do IV injections or something like every 3 months. They were telling me crazy things, and I was just like so hopeless as a young one being indoctrinated into that. And that's not the future that is in store for me. But as a young one, it was like so heavy. And then I grew up with all that violence in the home, and I thought, my family is so crazy and volatile that like no one would ever marry me. No one would marry into this family. I had so many insecurities. And honestly, a big part of the impetus for my health journey when I was 21, I was still in college, which is crazy to think I, went on such a deep journey and I put all my money into it. Like, it was expensive. And a big impetus for that was because the person I was dating at the time, it was actually my first same-sex relationship, which was a really big deal to me. I was like, oh my God, this is life. Like, it was so good. I was so attached to this relationship. And she was like, listen, if you can't take care of yourself, I don't want to date you. Cause I think I was like partying, it was college. I was like hungover, but then the Crohn symptoms on top of the hangover, or my body was just not tolerating what I was putting in my body. So that was the big impetus for me. It didn't even start out of self-love. It started out of fear of abandonment. And then that's where the self-love journey actually started. And of course, that relationship fell away. And I've had a self-love practice ever since. And I've been prioritizing taking care of my body ever since. It's been like over 10 years now. I'm 33 now. And so because I had essentially like healed myself, or so I thought. I think it's nonlinear, but Definitely. Almost a decade of no symptoms. I think it's like pretty fucking impressive, like given where I was at. So anyways, my identity kind of was wrapped up in that of like, oh, I am lovable now because I'm healthy, I'm well. And not only that, it was a huge spiritual awakening for me to go down that path. That's when I started really getting into like animism and just feeling how alive the world was. It was really profound for me to go through that. So what I'm realizing now that my body is flaring up in a very intense way, like extremely painful, really debilitating, and it's nonlinear. Some days are better, some days are worse, but it's chronic. It's been like a few months I've been going through this. This is like the third month. I'm realizing how burdensome I feel, how unlovable I feel. It's such a feeling of vulnerability that doesn't feel great. It feels like I'm a worm on the sidewalk and the sun is like drying me up. It really doesn't feel good at all. All these fears of like, well, will you still love me if I'm unwell is what I'm being confronted with now. So that in itself is really deep. But then there's the humility of, okay, I thought I was healed. I thought I was at the end of this journey, but it turns out it's not so linear. And there is some emotional residue that wants to still be processed that's related to the flare up or the inflammation. So that's what I'm diving into now. And it's such a full-time job, man, on top of running a business. But that's kind of where I'm at.
I think it's so relatable that to arrive at a place on the path where if you've been working on yourself for a period of time and to kind of like adopt that perception of like, I'm quote unquote healed or like I've done the work, right? And it becomes this like egoic identity or this kind of like distortion in the fourth chakra. And then, because I also went through this past year in my 8th house perfected year for any of the astro nerds out there, where my 31st year of life, like I was deeply confronted with some unprocessed childhood wounding and childhood trauma that I had to really somatically and energetically process throughout my space. Whereas I had been like, I've been doing healing work for like 10 years and this is like still here or something. But my perspective on it changed in the sense of like that 10 years of work actually was just the groundwork to then be able to reach that level of depth in myself. And I kind of see that in what you're saying too, where it's like, you know, everything that you've been doing, like that egoic belief of like, I'm healed or why is this coming up? Because like I've been working on myself really invalidates all of the work that you do, right? Where it's like, actually maybe that 10 years of work has been just like laying the foundation to reach this like much more deeper layer within yourself, right?
Yeah. I really resonate with that.
Like, it's not that you haven't been doing the work. It's like that has actually been required to come into like this deeper expression of it, because obviously like there's so much emotional stuff behind any kind of chronic illness.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are coming to that conclusion more and more these days.
Yeah.
And we often just, I mean, if I look at me 10 years ago, and you probably resonate with this, Forrest, I did not have the tools to emotionally process like this level of trauma in my experience or my psyche. So it's like I couldn't have dealt with it back then. Like it took like the building of that muscle to then actually be able to process the bigger stuff. Right.
I resonate with that so much. I know I was telling you this the other day, so you're going to hear it again, but for the listeners, I like sharing about my personal journey because I think it's so relatable, and because I have so much shame around it. That's another thing I've learned through this process is like, oh my God, there's so much shame living in me. Like I knew to some degree, yeah, but so much. I'm like, holy shit, you know? But anyways, I have a history of addiction. I was an alcoholic in my early 20s. Got sober, went heavy into cannabis, did that for, I don't know how many years. I think I've been sober for like almost 2 years now. Is that right? 2 years?
Hell yeah. That's amazing.
But anyways, like cannabis is way less harmful than alcohol. Like I'm way more chill. Whereas with alcohol, I was putting myself in crazy situations and it was really messing up my gut. My gut needed a break. But then of course, cannabis was fucking up my lungs. But whatever, I was born with a weak intestine, so the lungs could take it, you know?
So I'm not perfect.
Just need to give my gut a freaking break, so it's the lungs' turn. But then the through line throughout my entire life has been food as an addictive substance.
Right.
Not in a way that nicotine is addictive or something, but in a way that I wouldn't be able to process what was going on because it was so intense in my home growing up. That I would externalize it with food. Like food was a numbing agent or an escape. And that never really went away, even through, I mean, especially through the cannabis phase, you know, but with the alcoholism. So what you're saying about, you know, you're kind of peeling back these outer layers to get to the inner layers.
Yeah.
Like I've come such a long way around sobriety, you know, like I'm amazed at myself. I'm like, wow, I'm sober, like completely sober. I've been sober for like 2 years. That's crazy. I'm so proud of that, but it makes sense. Like I'm having compassion towards myself for still leaning on emotional eating, because when you peel or when you take away one of those coping mechanisms that's external, you have to replace it with something. You just have to. Otherwise, you're going to collapse. Like your nervous system can't handle it. Yeah. And I used to binge eat. I stopped binge eating like a few years ago. But I mean, you've seen me emotionally eating, you know, like I'll be missing my mom and then I'm craving a Coke. And it's like a stevia Coke. It's like healthy, quote unquote, but I'm not eating for sustenance. I'm like eating for emotional, like nostalgia or grief or, you know, missing my mom, for example. Or if I get stressed, I'll just want to eat something amazing that's like very stimulating, maybe like spicy fried rice or something. Like it's healthy, but you know, it's been really fucking humbling to be in this place where for 3 weeks I'm eating the most bland food. I usually drink tea every day and I can't even tolerate ginger right now. Like my gut is so raw and it's really needing a lot of softness. So I'm just like salt, broth, rice, potato, a little bit of carrot here and there, and it's like really mushy and well cooked. Like, oh my God, that's why I've been so irritable and so cranky, is because I think I'm really detoxing from emotional eating.
Yeah, it's a courageous journey for sure. It definitely requires a lot of compassion. I'm curious. So, right, one of my philosophies that we share is and that is a part of like our relationship agreements, is that your body is your primary partner, right? And so how I see the world of relationships right? And like we resonate with this philosophy, is that first and foremost, your body is your primary partner. And then all of your relationships are based on that foundation of that relationship that you have with your body as a soul. Right? Or some people talk about it as like your relationship with yourself. I'm curious, how do you see what you're going through right now in relationship to that like kind of guiding principle that you have?
Yeah. I love that question because it directly ties back to our relationship. And that's why I wanted to share about this. It's not just like, hey, guess what? I've been on a healing journey.
Hey, guess what? I'm fucking in pain.
Guess what? I used to be an addict, but I'm sober now. But it all ties back to our relationship because it's that unlovability wound that I thought I had quote unquote solved, but it was unhealed and it still needs to be healed. And even if it's not activated in the moment, like if I don't have a flare up, it's still impacting our relationship, you know? Because to answer your question, it always starts with yourself, you know, and you know this, so this is for the audience. It always starts with yourself. You always project your inner world outwards, you know? So if I'm feeling unlovable, because I'm not 100% in right relationship with my body, if I'm eating even when I'm not hungry, I'm not really honoring my body. And like, it's understandable because it's a trauma response. There's no shame around it. It's, you know, it's very common. Food is a very accessible drug. But at the end of the day, it's me being out of right relationship with my body.
Right, like being out of attunement. I really see it in the lens of like, how attuned to your body are you?
Yeah.
And that really affects like how attuned you can be to your partner.
Exactly. Yeah. And funny enough, like this brings it back to the work I do in session with people. And so many people, like, you know, people are coming in at all kinds of different paths and experience levels. But I noticed particularly a lot of straight guys, they can have a harder time attuning to their female partners. And it causes problems. It causes actual sexual assault within the relationship, which is kind of intense because you love each other, you care about each other, but for lack of attunement, you're accidentally sexually assaulting your partner. It's a big deal.
So painful.
It's very painful for both parties. The guy is like, what happened? I don't understand. And the woman is like traumatized. And so the work that I do with many folks, and it's not always that dramatic of an example, is just, it starts with the self. It's like, can you attune to yourself? And I've seen this work. Particularly, there's like a few guys I have in mind where even over the course of a few months, like it wasn't a lifelong practice, although you continue it as a practice, but they were able to learn these skills within months to be able to tune into their body more, and their partner could feel the difference. And even they were shocked at like how much they were noticing more subtle cues from their partner, whereas before they were so just kind of one track focused, you know? Like focused on themselves, their sexual desire, for example.
Right.
So I know it makes me a better lover. Long story short. And the same, like if I were to witness you neglecting your body, Fēnix, it would be kind of painful for me. Like, of course I would give you space to be where you are. I might offer you a loving reflection because it's rooted in our agreements. I'm not trying to control you. But it would be hard for me to watch. And the thing is, you take amazing care of your body. Even when you're unwell or you're not 100% healthy, let's say, like there's, you know, chapters, you do such a good job at listening to your body. And it's very attractive. It helps me feel safe, particularly in a sexual sense or when we're being intimate, even emotionally, because I know that you can attune to me and you can very well attune to me. Like I feel so safe and held and considered that I can really let my defenses down. And I think that's what it's all about. The more you can be defenseless in front of another person, that mutual defenselessness, it's such a deep level of intimacy that the mainstream world, like we don't really get to experience that so much in today's like ideally in the future, this becomes more of a norm. But right now with where Earth is at, like you mainly only experience that in your romantic partnership.
Well, it's also just not appropriate to experience that with the mailman. You know, like there are, like, it's okay to have relationships in concentric circles around you where it's like some are closer in, you know. And of course I'm saying this because this has like always been my huge growth edge of like having discernment around who I let into the inner circles versus like who's on the outer circles.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, I mean, just for everyone out there, like it has not always been that way in terms of having that reflection from a partner of like, you take such great care of your body, or like feeling a lot of communication. For me personally, it has definitely been like a communication issue and solution where me as a soul being so like psychic and sensitive, like I had a lot of interference, I'll say, between me and my body. And the more that I walked my psychic path, which means like, you know, I reclaim my own energetic sovereignty and I reclaim my direct communication with my body, where it's like I'm actually the one who is calling the shots in my own space. Like my energy is what is most important and what is most like fitted for my well-being. The better my relationship with my body has been because the communication has improved. There's less interference. There's less other people in the way. There's less other energies in the way.
Yeah.
That isn't me.
Yeah. And that brings us to the concept of communication starts with you and your body.
Yes, totally.
I have a lot of clients. I mean, this is just, it's not about the clients. It's about culture and where we're at as a people, as a culture. But in sessions, there's this common theme of people struggling with communication because they don't understand what's coming up for them. They don't know what to say. It's like, okay, I'm feeling emotional. I'm feeling overwhelmed, but I don't know what emotion. I don't know what I need right now, you know?
Right. It's like a communication breakdown, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that practice of putting the body first, like the body's the primary partner. And then from that is the foundation of any other relationship. It really, you know, when we're talking about emotional eating, it does relate to that because the more I can be in right relationship with my body, really listen to, hey, are you hungry? Or if I am feeling emotional, it's like grief around my estranged relationship with my mom. I could grab a stevia Coke, Zevia or whatever it's called. Or I could process my emotions, you know, like I don't have to eat as a way to process. I can do little somatic work. I can go for a walk or a bike ride or, you know, a million other things.
Right. It was just eating was and we all have versions of this, right? Like eating was the only thing accessible to you, the most accessible thing to you as a young child. And so much of healing is honestly like reparenting these like younger parts of you that are actually driving the show still. Like I love this image of that I think a lot of people talk about or that I see with regards to like the reparenting work, right? Where it's like you are, it's like the image of your inner child like driving this huge semi truck. Like they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Like of course they are scared and like being like, you know, it's like just like causing all kinds of chaos and reaching for all kinds of things because they're just doing the best they can.
Yeah.
With what they got at the time. And then that just becomes a habitual routine or pattern. And it does take effort to rework that pattern. You know, we're habitual creatures, but so much of it is just like reparenting those like inner parts of us that just grabbed for things because they weren't taught like, or they didn't have someone in front of them who's like, let me, you know, be with you and feel this with you. Let me show you how to feel it.
Yeah.
Speaking of this, I'm noticing some hunger. So I'm noticing some hunger in my body. So I want to stop like in the next minute or two.
Oh, okay. I'm sad, but I understand.
Yeah, it's so like, it's so meta. It's so like, well, like good for the theme.
I want to share one more thing. I don't know if it'll take a minute or maybe like 3. Do you have that in you?
That's fine, yeah.
Okay. But I won't drag you along too long.
Yeah, it's
The
not gonna
body
happen.
first. Yeah. You won't let me. Cool. Great. Green flag. I want to share with people that I found a witch doctor locally who's been incredibly helpful. He's a miracle man. He's amazing. I won't go into details about what he does. It's pure magic. And I just had an appointment with him, my second appointment the other day. And he's like, yeah, you got a block there. Let's see what that is. And when he was able to identify it, he was saying, oh, it looks like the diet that you're on. You're actually having such resistance to that emotionally, such a strong emotional reaction that's keeping you stuck and moving forward. So it was very nonlinear progress. Like I was getting a lot better, but I've also been like complaining a lot and grumpy a lot about I miss food, been obsessed with watching cooking shows and like, it's just like masochism. I've been smelling hot sauce because I'm obsessed with hot sauce, but I haven't had it in weeks and I usually eat it every day. Just been resisting. So
Yeah.
man, my ego is being cracked open. I am just going through such deep spiritual growth with like realizing that, okay, I could continue on a few more months in this incredible pain, really low energy, or I could just fucking let go of the attachment to eating, like emotionally. I still want to honor pleasure and food and the creativity of cooking. I love that. But I'm just going through this deep ego death around, okay, yeah, am I actually willing to let go of eating as a tool or an escape? And when I was reflecting on it, I was like, shit, there's a part of me that doesn't want to. So that's the deep work I'm in right now, is letting go. And there was even shame that came up around, oh my God, I'm so attached to emotional eating, you know? But the whole thing has been a portal for the inner child work, for deepening the self-love practice. I thought it couldn't go deeper. Here it goes.
Always deeper.
Yeah, having some compassion for my little one.
Yeah.
That's the last thing I wanted to share. Do you want to share any last words?
Yeah, I just think that was a big insight for you around the resistance, because resistance can be so sticky. I think that's very common for people when they go through a change process, where they kind of have to go through a step where they let go of the resistance to the process. And then it does get easier when you let go of that resistance and just surrender.
Yeah. Easier said than done. I've done it before, but haven't had to in a while. So I am being humbled. I'm like, oh, is this what that feels like? I've gotten too comfortable. I need a healthy ego death, like keep me in my place. A humble student of life.
Yes, always.
Well, thanks for chatting with me.
Thanks for having me.
It was a spontaneous idea, and it's so fun that you're willing to just like hop on the mic with me and I don't know, just hold the space for my crazy story.
Of course, babe. Yeah, thanks for the bravery to share it.
Oh, I love you.
Love you too.
That's a wrap. Wrapped. I hope you enjoyed that little spontaneous episode. I had such a good time with Fēnix on the podcast, and really am looking forward to having her more on the podcast. It is now a couple days later that I'm recording this outro, and I'm actually feeling a lot better, but still on the same bland diet. So, but I'm feeling like I'm making a lot more peace with it inside of myself, and that feels liberating. Anyways, it's actually really healing for me to share about the things that I'm experiencing shame around, because shame can only exist in hiding. When you bring it to the light, it kind of just withers away. So it's really healing for me just to, I guess, kind of publicly declare like, hey, I've got some shame around, like my state of my health and the way that brings up a feeling of unlovability in me. But I'm already feeling that shift, to be honest with you, as I'm working with it and, talking to friends about it. And I mean, podcasting about it is pretty next level, but I think the fact that I'm willing to say it on a podcast, like that's pretty public, goes to show the work I've been doing with it. So I appreciate you bearing witness. It's really helpful for me, to be honest. I would love to hear how you can relate to this. Leave a comment and let me know. Is this something that you've experienced? What triggers your unlovability wound? I think within a capitalist world, we kind of internalize this feeling that we are unlovable. It's kind of not the default. There's usually some kind of like, I have to prove my worth, or I have to earn or win lovability, have to be achieving enough or whatever enough. You have to be the best. It's really competitive. So I wonder if you could relate to the emotional eating piece. And yeah, I honestly just love relating over this stuff. So let me know how you relate to it. I do have a few events coming up. So if you want to deepen into your own shadow work, I have a free hour-long call where you can ask me anything. It happens the first Wednesday of every month. The next one is coming up Wednesday, March 4th. It's called Relationship Hour. Come and ask me anything. I'll give you my unique perspective. And to sign up for that, you can click on the link in the description below, or you can check out my website, consciousrelating.org. I also have a workshop coming up on March 10th to help you receive boundaries with more ease. This is a common issue that honestly I also run into, but have been working on it. But a lot of folks I work with run into this quite a bit. So, it's that scenario where you want to support your partner's autonomy, but when they tell you no or not right now, it brings up a big emotional reaction for you. And what I see a lot of people getting hooked on is the rejection that it can bring up. Even when logically you're not being rejected, there's this kind of tender, younger part that, the wounding kind of gets touched into. So if that's you want to support your partner in their autonomy, and you want to be able to receive a boundary without so much emotional charge around it, we're going to work with that together. Do a little bit of somatics, a little bit of energy work. And honestly, a big part of it is just releasing the shame around it. So you can go to my website, consciousrelating.org. There's a link in the description below. And that workshop is called Receive Boundaries with Ease. Would love to see you there. Thanks for being here. Peace be with you.